I swear to God, the game is cold,
What
homie.
you mean?
I popped on a after he stole on me.
What happened next?
Had the cane to court and told on me.
Put that on something.
I sold my soul, homie. Called the highway patrol on me, plus the sheriffs and cops. He told him my name was Eric and I carried a Glock. Soon as you start blowing shots, them niggas going to tail. They'll have a meeting with the cops and then you going to jail. They'll tell him about the shooting, take him, show him his well. DA trying to see your cash, but they gon' throw him the nails. They wanna throw me up in the cell and have me with a L again. Back to strip searchers and guards, read my mail again. Had me far away in the bay. I'm talking Pelican, eating cold ass soy burgers and warm gelatin.
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down. Now, of course, if you're new to the channel, I got locked up. I served 24 years straight. Normally, I come on here, I tell some of my prison stories, I tell some of my street stories, but every now and then on Friday, what I do is a segment called Free Game Friday, and I like to share a little knowledge in the same way some of my older homies would share with me when I was young in the streets, in the hopes of helping people who are in the streets move wiser and eventually transition from the streets to something more safer. But anyway, man, let's hop right up into this video. So today, man, I'm gonna just be talking about how people in the street, especially when you're younger, you may fail to realize that a lot of times certain situations just don't end there. You know, there's always gonna be repercussions and consequences to a lot of the things that you're doing in the streets, especially when they are negative things, right? So I want to start off with this older video, y'all. Now, I believe the video was probably about 4 or 5 years old, and if I'm not mistaken, it occurred in New York, right? And you have this girl for whatever reason, and of course, you know, with this, as with other videos as well, you may hear different reasons why the situation occurred. But one thing we do know, which is fact, is you have this girl who pulls up to the house of another girl, and her mother answers the door, and as they do in this generation, she's having somebody film the situation, right? And so she's saying, you know, this is your mother, right? This is your mother, right? And I guess she's not talking to the person who's filming. She's talking because she knows that she's gonna put this video on social media. So she's talking to the girl of the mother that she has a problem with. So, you know, the girl, when she opens the door, the mother seems to know this girl, you know, so she's wondering what's going on. She's looking there kind of like, you know, trying to figure out what's going on. And suddenly the girl who's saying, this is your mother, she starts slapping the other girl's mother, you know, slapped her numerous times. And I don't know how much of that footage I'll be able to insert due to YouTube's no violence policy, but I'm sure I'll drop some of that in the footage, right? And so there was no reason for whatever, there was no reason to bring this girl's mother into it. For whatever problem you had with this other girl, the problem should have remained between you and that other girl, you know. But in this generation, they seem to be so disrespectful. They seem to almost get pleasure out of trying to be as disrespectful as possible, you know. And so you see right here on the film, like I said, she's slapping the other girl's mother. The other girl's mother is astonished. She's like, oh, what's going on? You know, she can't believe it as this girl repeatedly slaps her, right? And so there's no reason for situations like that, you know. And my thing is, when situations like this occur, you know, does the individual just feel that it's gonna remain at that, you know, at that instance? There's not gonna be any further repercussion, you know. The whole bottom line is, if you do something to a person that you wouldn't accept, if somebody done it to you, you have to understand that there's probably gonna be further repercussions, and more likely than not, the repercussions are gonna be greater than what you done, right? Because I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all, right? That was one of my things when I was young and out there in the street. I tried to be respectful as possible at all times, but in the event somebody disrespected me, I felt that I had the right to then turn my disrespect up 10 times fold whatever they done, because you have to teach people lessons, you know, especially when you running around in the street, because sadly sometimes the only thing people do respect is violence, right? But like I said, we have to understand, especially when we're in the wrong. If now you go over to somebody's house, you breaking in their house, just so happen their mother or their father's there, and then on top of you being wrong for breaking into that person's house, you then beat up and assault the mother or the father or somebody that's in the house. And that's just a scenario. I'm not saying that is what happened in this other video. I'm just using that as an example. You beat up the parent or whoever you run across. Now you have basically doubled down on your wrongdoing. So do you think that the person that you assaulted, they're just going to leave it at that? There has to be a lot of times, well, not necessarily there has to be, but a lot of times there is going to be repercussions. And then you have to realize what's going to happen next, and do I really want that situation to happen? I would say a couple of weeks ago, I got a call from one of my younger homies. I don't say little homie because we all equal. I don't do the big homie, little homie thing. I may be older than you. You may be my younger homie, but we all equal. So I got a call from one of my younger homies, and he was asking me my advice on a situation, right? I'm not gonna go deep into it, but somebody had pretty much worked him out of several $100s, right? Which is a lot of money. But at the end of the day, I asked him, homie, is that worth throwing your life over though? Throwing your life, are you willing to go do the next 20, 30 years, 15 years in prison behind a couple of $100, homie? Now you have a decision to make right now where you can just, say, I'm gonna let it go. I realize who that person is. I'm gonna step back from him. Or you can further the situation, go ask for the fade nowadays, because, a lot of people not gonna be able to handle a whooping. You know what I'm saying? You put them lefts and rights on them, they're not gonna be able to handle it. Are you willing, homie, to potentially go to prison the next 15, 20 years behind something like that? You know what I'm saying? And so, a lot of times, man, we have to realize that, it's going to be a reaction to some of the things that we out there doing in the streets. And a lot of times it's not worth it, They recently talking about some dude by the name of Von off 1700, There's a shooting that goes on. There's a shooting that happened, and they have the shooting on video. And some people are trying to say that's him. Some people are saying it's not. But in the event, it is him, right? And the police can connect him to it. We see a lot of this stuff going on in the streets when we're young, we're impressionable. We are fascinated with the gangster aspect of the shooting, dudes out there thugging. But like I said, there's always a reaction to that, and the negative reaction to that may be, for one, the police may come get this dude, send him to jail for the next 30, 40 years, Some of his family members may come and try to catch up with this dude and potentially take his life. So, we don't realize or we don't give much thought to the repercussions or the aftermath of our actions, And so that's what I want, the youngsters out there to think about, man. Not even necessarily the youngsters. If you still out in the street and you thugging, man, with the time, nowadays most states are passing out when it comes to crime. Any violent crime is going to land you in prison for a long, long, long time. It trips me out how we repeatedly watch these gangsters, on social media, these young dudes who have these names, and we see them, rapping or doing whatever they're doing, 1 month, 3 or 4 months later, we see that they have got caught up in a violent situation, and now they've been sentenced to 75 years, 80 years in prison, and we continue to live this lifestyle like it can't happen to us, I was one of them dudes that thought that I couldn't, get caught or whatever, so I definitely can relate to that, right? So that's what I want people to think about. It's always going to be an aftermath to our actions, man. And last thing, so the girl that we saw at the start of that video who was slapping that lady's mom, shortly thereafter, she was shot 15 times and killed. So there's always going to be a reaction to our actions when they are negative and we are in the wrong, man. And so that's what I want the people out there to think about, man. You already know what it is. It's Free Game Friday, man. Think about this lifestyle. Get your life together and move on, man. It's your boy 16 to Life. Resume normal program. This video was sponsored by Mitchell Law Firm. If you have a record or you happen to know somebody who has a record and that record is hindering or impeding the quality of employment they're able to obtain, I strongly suggest you seek the law services of Farrah Mitchell. Miss Mitchell is a criminal law attorney who specializes in record expungement. Her services are nationwide, meaning regardless of whatever state you may have been convicted in, she still may be able to help. She also offers various other legal services at an extremely reasonable rate. So once again, I strongly suggest you contact her, get your record expunged, and get your life back in order.